What if I told you that pinch harmonics aren't about having a magic touch at all? And once you understand this simple trick, you'll skip over using your thumb entirely and never miss pinch harmonics again. Today you're going to learn how to get a pinch harmonic to squeal instead of flub, how to use them in real songs so they pop out on purpose instead of by accident, and how to mess around with other kinds of harmonics, adding variety to the sounds that you make. But first, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Troy Cers. It rhymes with person. I've been teaching guitar for over a decade, and the steps outlined in this video have been tested by hundreds of students before you and arranged in the perfect order to make sure that you get this down the first time and don't have to spend hours on dozens of other videos. So be sure to watch this one the whole way through in order. And let's get started with, what's a harmonic? When you play a string on the guitar, it vibrates back and forth. This back and forth vibration is what produces the pitch of the note. If strings are all to the same length, lower tuned strings vibrate wider and slower, and higher tuned strings vibrate faster and tighter. Every time we fret a note on the guitar, we shorten the length of the string, which causes the vibration to tighten and speed up, which is mechanically how we produce higher notes as guitar players. Now, what if I could stop that string from vibrating without having to hold it down? This nifty little trick, called a harmonic, was discovered by Pythagoras. And yes, it is that Pythagoras from ancient Greece that you heard about in your math classes. Harmonics that occur along the string without us having to fret a note are called natural harmonics. That middle point I was talking about is the 12th fret. This is also why there's a double dot on most guitars at the 12th fret. To play a natural harmonic, very gently touch the string above the piece of metal, not the space. Take a look at my finger. Notice how I'm being so gentle with the string that it's not being pressed down at all? Also make a note of where it is, directly over top of the metal of the fret. When playing any sort of harmonic, it's important to get your finger out of the way as soon as you hear the sound start. Think like a surfer having to get up on the board at the exact right time as a wave starts. As soon as you hear that, you gotta get your finger out of there right away. If we go down to the 7th fret, the note gets higher, which is backwards. Normally the 7th fret is lower in pitch than the 12th fret, but when you play a harmonic, you've shrunk the string from this to this, so the pitch goes up. So the 12th fret split the string in the middle. This point between the 0 and the 12th fret at the 7th fret creates these notes. On the opposite side of the string, between the 12th fret and the bridge, that same point, which comes in around the 19th fret, makes the same note. If we take this further, the harmonics get higher at the 5th fret, and those same harmonics happen on the opposite side at the 24th fret. If you don't have a 24th fret, imagine where a hypothetical 24th fret might be, and that's where those harmonics live. Before we move on, if you have your guitar handy, I want you to pause the video and try making harmonics at the 12th fret, then at the 7th and the 19th fret, then at the 5th and the 24th fret. The higher the pitch, the more gentle you have to be. Okay, so this next part still gives me a childlike sense of wonder. I was at a concert last night and the performer did a bunch of these in one of his songs. And even though I know how they work, I was still sitting there thinking, wow, that's so cool. Let's go back to those 12th fret harmonics for a second. If you gently touch the string, pick the string, then lift your finger away, it plays the note. But what if you could do that with one hand? Stretch out your pointer finger on your picking hand so that it's flat and straight, and either reach behind it with your thumb or with your ring finger to pick the string. Remember to be patient with yourself though, especially if you're clumsy like I am. This part will take a little bit of coordination and practice, but trust me, it's about to solve all of your pinch harmonic woes. Okay, I'm gonna imagine that you've taken some time, pause the video, and are able to do these now. You could stop here and you'd be the life of the party, but let's take it a step further. If I hold down, say, an E chord, God, I really like an E chord. And as I play the 12th fret harmonic on the E string one-handed, like we just talked about, same. But on the A string, since I'm holding down the 2nd fret, I have to move that 12th fret harmonic 2 frets higher than the 12th fret, to the 14th fret. Same thing on the D string, 2 plus 12 is 14. On the G string, I'm holding down the 1st fret, so this harmonic point moves to the 13th fret because 1 plus 12. And on the B and the E string, I'm back to the 12th fret, since I'm not holding down anything on those 2 strings for this chord. In my mind, these artificial harmonics, also called harp harmonics or fretted harmonics, are the classical equivalent of pinch harmonics. And if you'll indulge me, I've included a couple of videos in the description of different performers playing these in pieces. Now that you know what a harmonic is, how natural harmonics work, and how artificial harmonics work, you're ready for the grand reveal, pinch harmonics. Remember that picture of the fretboard being chopped up from earlier in the videos with the natural harmonics? There's actually way more harmonic points on the guitar than those first 3 notes that I showed you, but they're higher in pitch, so they're a lot harder to play. Remember the whole me smacking my hand down example of what your finger does to the string when you play harmonics? If you're playing a really high-pitched harmonic, you have to be really gentle with how you touch the string. Otherwise, you'll just stop it entirely. These next couple points I want you to pay close attention to are at the 4th fret, and these other ones in between the 0 and the 4th fret that don't actually line up with a fret. Not because we're going to play these, unless you want to play Heresy by Pantera, in which case, yes, I love that song. But the real reason I want you to pay attention to these is for that whole mirroring thing we were talking about. These harmonic points over here also occur down here where your picking hand plays the strings. So when you do a pinch harmonic, you're picking the string and touching those points on the string to produce the whew. And very often this is explained by a guitarist who changes up how they're holding their pick and flicks their hand back like they're throttling a Vespa to super duper gently graze the string with the edge of their thumb in these spots. And if that works for you, awesome. This confused me mercilessly when I was learning the guitar. So for everyone else, myself included, here's the other way to do a pinch harmonic that I learned from a guy at a local music shop who I don't remember the name of, that's helped hundreds of my students over the years, and I'm hoping it'll help you out too. Remember what we did with artificial harmonics where we reached forward, fretted the harmonic, and picked the string? For pinch harmonics, we're going to reach backwards and touch the string with our ring finger. There's no specific way to hold your ring finger for this that's correct. It just has to be relaxed since we're trying to touch the string really gently. If you wanted, you could take a measuring tape and a calculator to figure out where these harmonics up here occur along the string, marking the strings with a red Sharpie so you can see where those points are. But what I recommend and what I personally did for this is just fiddle around with it with some gain on your amp until you can find one that sounds really strong. If the first spot you tried doesn't work, move your whole hand over so the placement of the ring finger changes. Also, because of how high the pitch of the harmonic is, these work a lot better on your lower strings like E, A, and D, and especially well in lower tunings. Once you've got one that you like, take a second to look at it and try and burn the image into your brain of where that note is. Then grab a note with your fret hand, like let's say the 3rd fret on the A string, and try picking that pinch harmonic. Depending on where you're fretting, this spot may move over slightly. Once you get a strong sound while holding a fretted note, wiggle the string up and down while still keeping the fretted note pressed down. This is what creates that wee sound, which I like to call the squealy bits in metal songs. If you're still stuck, I want you to know I've got you. I'll meet with you, figure out exactly what's going wrong, and help you fix it so that you never have to worry about whether or not you can play pinch harmonics. And if you followed everything in the video and it worked, let me know in the comments.